Very recently, the Fox NFL pregame show Hall of Fame football player and television analyst Terry Bradshaw revealed that he had battled cancer twice in secret over the previous year. After being diagnosed with bladder cancer in November and skin cancer in March, the former Steelers quarterback said he is officially cancer-free. Now, stay tuned to find out all the details you need to know. First up, Terry Bradshaw, the former NFL legend, has recently opened up about suffering twice from cancer. Here's all the info. Terry Bradshaw, an NFL Hall of Famer and Fox broadcaster, only recently announced that he is cancer-free after receiving 2 cancer diagnoses in the previous year. Bradshaw revealed during Fox's NFL pregame program that he was operated on for bladder cancer back in November. Then he claimed that in March, medical professionals discovered a rare form of skin cancer in a growth in his left neck. Thankfully, it is now gone. Bradshaw, now age 74, claimed that the event that motivated him to address health issues in the first place was an episode during his Fox show where he became short of breath and needed co-host Howie Long's assistance. The NFL legend stated, "Folks, I may not look like my old self, but I feel like my old self," Bradshaw said. "I'm cancer-free. I'm feeling great, and over time, I'm going to be back to where I normally am. So I appreciate your prayers and concern." Now, if you aren't already aware of the absolute legend that is Terry Bradshaw, Bradshaw played for the Pittsburgh Steelers for 14 seasons between 1970 and 1983. The quarterback, a former first-round choice, guided the team to its first 4 Super Bowl victories and was honored twice as Super Bowl MVP and once as league MVP throughout his career. Later in 1989, Bradshaw was admitted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Bradshaw entered the television industry right away as his playing career ended. Before joining Fox in 1994, he worked briefly for CBS Sports. Since then, he has been a mainstay of Fox's NFL coverage. Now, hearing about Terry Bradshaw's cancer battles had us thinking, what other sports stars have battled with this scary disease? Let's take a look at a few. There is one thing about cancer: it can affect anyone and everyone equally. Cancer may strike anybody, including professional sportsmen. The next 10 competitors not only fought for the gold, but also against cancer. We hope that reading about these well-known athletes who have battled the often deadly disease will give you hope and inspiration to keep going and never give up. First up, Shannon Miller fought cancer as well. Gymnast Shannon Miller, a gold medalist, was diagnosed with an ovarian germ cell tumor after doctors found a baseball-sized tumor on her ovary. Now, this rare form of ovarian cancer, titled an ovarian germ cell tumor, frequently strikes women under 30. These cancers are usually curable and treatable if found early. The mother of one, who was 33 at the time, had surgery and 9 weeks of chemotherapy to treat the illness. In a 2016 American Cancer Society report, she was mentioned as being cancer-free. Miller created the women's health website, Shannon Miller Lifestyle, to disseminate health advice through expert-written articles and blog entries detailing her experiences with the hopes of helping and educating others. Next up, MLB star Eric Davis also suffered from cancer. A reliable MLB player throughout his career, Eric Davis was given the news that he had colon cancer early in the 1997 campaign, which ultimately forced him to retire for what many thought would be an extended period of time. Surprisingly, Davis fought to resume playing later that year, which shocked many and also inspired the masses. Just a few months after his diagnosis, he blasted the game-winning home run against the Cleveland Indians in the American League Championship Series. Jake Gibbs is another 2-time cancer survivor. Medical screening procedures find many cancers, but other cases are found in unusual ways. Jake Gibb, a professional volleyballer, was one example of this. A failed drug test for the Olympian found abnormally high hormone levels, which may be a sign of steroid use. Since excessive hormone levels in men can also indicate testicular cancer, Gibb was urged to seek medical attention. The athlete was found to have testicular cancer shortly after failing the drug test, and the malignancy was surgically removed. Gibb battled melanoma in 2004, making him a 2-time cancer survivor. Next up, Lance Armstrong. Lance Armstrong, an infamous cyclist, was identified as having testicular cancer back in 1996, which had progressed to his belly, lungs, and brain. Amazingly, after severe treatment and surgery, Armstrong was declared cancer-free 2 years later. Armstrong was most well known for competing in the 1992 Olympic Games after receiving a cancer diagnosis and his drug scandal. Later, after beating cancer, he participated once again in the Sydney, Australia Olympics in 2000. Megan Kinney also overcame cancer. An alternate to the 2008 Olympic Games for synchronized swimming, Megan Kinney was diagnosed with bone cancer in 2010. Her doctor found a tumor in her knee after complaining of knee pain. Osteosarcoma, a rare bone cancer that often affects teenagers and young children, was discovered in the 21-year-old. Kinney had surgery and had chemotherapy for 10 months. To assist in paying for care, she created the website Team Megan. Another NFL star includes New York Giants Mark Herzlich. Current New York Giants linebacker Mark Herzlich was a Boston College student when he was diagnosed with cancer, making him one of the more well-known athletes battling the disease. Because of this, numerous news organizations followed his tale and inspiration as he overcame a rare bone cancer to join the NFL in 2011 and win a Super Bowl with New York in 2012. Diana Golden also suffered from cancer but sadly lost her fight. Diana Golden, a skier, lost her right leg to cancer when she was 12 years old, but that didn't put an end to her aspirations of becoming a successful athlete. She was competing in her first U.S. Disabled Alpine Championships 4 years after losing her leg. At the 1988 Calgary Olympics, she went on to win a gold medal in the giant slalom event. Golden underwent a bilateral mastectomy and uterine removal after receiving a diagnosis of breast cancer in 1992. In 1997, the cancer reappeared. The 38-year-old skiing legend fell tragically from the illness in 2001. Next up, Scott Hamilton. Scott Hamilton, a figure skater, received a testicular cancer diagnosis in 1997. The gold medalist returned to the ice to skate a year professionally after surgery and chemotherapy. Hamilton frequently speaks publicly about his illness, raising much-needed awareness of the issue. He established the Scott Hamilton Cares Initiative, a group committed to funding cancer research, educating patients, and offering assistance to both patients and their families. Hamilton is involved in the cancer community and continues to be cancer-free. Eric Shanto, an Olympic swimmer, was also diagnosed. For most of his formative years, Eric Shanto dominated other swimmers in the water. He excelled enough to secure a position on the American swimming team for the 2008 Olympics. The fact that he received a cancer diagnosis 1 week before the Beijing Games was unfortunate, but it did not put a halt to his pursuit of the Olympic Games. Shanto traveled to Beijing and nearly reached the finals of the 200-meter breaststroke event, but cancer would not prevent him from missing the chance of a lifetime. Next, Billy Mayfair. Billy Mayfair's tale may not be the most well-known or famous among sports fans, but his struggle with illness shook the golf community and demonstrated the character and tenacity of the Mayfair family. His testicular cancer was discovered in July of 2006. After having surgery to treat the illness 3 days later, he was back playing golf within 2 weeks. Most cancer patients need months to recover after their treatments, but Mayfair gave it his all to return to the golf field in time for the PGA Championship. He was even in contention after the first 2 rounds before losing out in the closing stages. His commitment to the sport is unquestionable after such a turnaround. Another survivor includes baseball star Jon Lester. Just 3 years had passed since the Red Sox won their first championship in 86 years when Jon Lester's cancer struggle began to take shape. He was getting treatment for anaplastic large cell lymphoma during the first half of the season, but he triumphantly rejoined the starting rotation in June of that same year. As he started and won the Red Sox World Series clinching game at the end of that season, Lester's battle with cancer had a happily ever after conclusion. Speaking of baseball, Andrés Galarraga overcame the scary disease as well. One of the most uplifting tales in recent Major League Baseball history is the tale of André Galarraga's recovery from his cancer battle. Galarraga had 3 seasons in a row with 40 or more home runs, solidifying his status as a standout power hitter. However, a visit to the doctor prior to the 1999 season put a stop to him when he received a non-lymphoma Hodgkin's diagnosis. Despite missing the entire season, he returned the following year and shocked many by regaining his All-Star form. He participated in his 6th All-Star game and winning the National League Comeback Player of the Year award. And finally, Jon Lester. Jon Lester, a left-handed pitcher who was then playing for the Boston Red Sox, discovered that he had been given a non-lymphoma Hodgkin's diagnosis in 2006 after complaining of a hurting back. Lester showed complete recovery when he returned to baseball the following season, winning 2 World Series championships, making 3 All-Star games, and most recently, agreeing to a large contract with the Chicago Cubs. That's all for today. See you next time.